So when it...
Hola, 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 mi gente. Welcome. Yes, I said welcome. Welcome to another episode of Aquí con Kyna. And while we usually broadcast in Spanish, tonight's episode will be conducted in English. Why? Tonight we have a very special interview that's been brewing and it deserves some spotlight. And we are truly honored to have an episode like this because let me tell you something. It's so special that I'm giving Latoyaa, and you will meet her just now, the entire show to find out her business, right? As we would say. She's going to share her story, and I believe it's worth highlighting. We're going to capture a remarkable story tonight here on Aquí con Kyna. So I'm going to give you some time to go and call your neighbor, go and call your friend, get your tea, get your water, because you will be satisfied with this episode. Let's take a break and we'll be right back.
Okay, Acts of Kindness TT Foundation presents Royal in Purple, a benefit all-inclusive gala. Yes, you're dressing up for this one. November the 8th, San Fernando City Hall Auditorium from 5 p.m. Royal entertainment from Lady Adana, Eddie Charles, Ziggy Rankin, Dale Toro, and Marsha Kagan. Your hosts, Trina and Eunice Peters. For more information, call 783-7446. That's 783-7446 for Royal Food. Sunday Stew presents Hamidullah Wahid in Vintage Royal. Yes, join us as we celebrate the humorous champion, Hamidullah Wahid. Hami is joined by his Vintage Royal team, Brother Valentino, King Luther, Lady Adana, Ras Commander, Pharaoh, and Marsha Kagan. The action is at the St. Madeleine Regional Complex, October the 4th from 7 p.m. Tickets are just $200. Get them today from all committee members. Call Eunice on 721-6327 or Patricia 783-7446. Exciting door prizes to be won. Your hosts, Damian Melville and Eunice Peters. It's Hamidullah Wahid in Vintage Royal.
Welcome again tonight to another episode of Aquí con Kyna, and tonight we'll be doing our episode in English. So I know a lot of you viewers, especially from Trinidad and Tobago, will be very, very happy to know that we can speak English, and that is how versatile Aquí con Kyna is. We are more than media, we are movement. There are many negative stories happening around the world, but on Aquí con Kyna, we like to highlight the positive ones. So tonight, I have with me a lady who has moved from Trinidad and Tobago to the global stage. She has taken her career from government consulting to entrepreneurship, social entrepreneurship, and her impact has touched many parts of the world, and soon she'll be doing that in Ecuador. Welcome, 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 Mrs. I have to say the whole name, Mrs. Latoyaa Roberts Thomas.
Good
yes?
evening.
Thank you for coming. Last week we tried to hold her down, but Tobago got her love, right? But this time she is in Trinidad, and I'm glad that you came here on time, very punctual lady, and now see why she has accomplished so much. So Latoyaa, for the people who have not seen you, because based on the likes on my video, I know that a lot of people know you, right? Or they just find you nice, you know, a lot of people, she is married, so please watch the comments. We would like to know a little bit about you, just a little surface, because we're getting deep.
Okay.
Who is Latoyaa?
Well, good afternoon, viewers. I'm Latoyaa. That's a great question. I don't know. I think I'm just a young lady living in Trinidad and Tobago. Yes, definitely. Specifically, I was born, grew up in Tobago, but now reside more often in Trinidad. And I think I'm a young lady who's willing to take on the world.
Oh, wow.
Yes, let's put it out.
I love that summary. I love that summary. A young lady ready to take over the world. And the thing is, it is showing. I had an opportunity to read Mrs. Roberts Thomas' bio. And I was wondering if I would have even had the time or the opportunity to have an interview with her. And when I spoke to this lady on the phone, I said, wow, she's such a humble, nice lady. She had me chuckling, so kind, very responsive. I said, wow. And then she said she's going to do something by this hour, and she did it. I said, wow, I can't wait to meet this lady in person. Tonight is our first night meeting in person, but we've had conversations before. And I know I have real questions for you.
Okay, I'm here to answer those questions.
So we want to know a little bit more about your journey and your career path. Because like I said, you have an extensive background. Literally, you've been to so many countries. I want to know what inspired that move to take, before you even get to live in Trinidad, where did the love for whatever you start to brew start?
Well, growing up, I will say that I was always interested in learning about other languages, people, other cultures. So from a very young age, I always had an interest in understanding how the world works. I will many times look at a map, look at the different countries, look at people doing different things, and be like, I want to go there. I want to see this, I want to see that. And as I began my academic studies, I grew up with a passion of international relations.
Oh, nice, very nice.
So even though my first degree was in communications, I also blended it with the love for traveling, exploring the world, learning about other people. So I did study a bit of international relations, and I realized that that is the sweet spot. That is where I want to be. I want to be able to go to different countries, see different things, interact with different people, not be limited to just life here in Trinidad and Tobago. So I live with a mantra of live local, think global. So different days of the week or different months, you may end up seeing me in a different country doing something, but I always try to root it back to home.
Right, so that's my next question. You've lived and worked, not just lived, you didn't pass through as a visitor, lived and worked across so many countries. But what really inspired you to leave? Now, there's a way you can have a passion for things and do it right here. But what inspired you to say, look, let me leave Trinidad and go these places? Can you mention some of the places? I would love to say it, but can you mention the places that you've been and maybe briefly a little bit of the experiences you've had there?
So I will say one of my big decisions was after undergraduate. I wanted to stay in TNT, I honestly wanted to, but I just felt as if the environment and the context just wasn't for me. So I first took up a job in Japan actually. So I taught English in Japan for 2 years there. And that was a really good experience because not only did I develop my love for Japan, but also my passion, I will say, for East Asian culture grew while living out there. So I was able to really visit a lot of the countries. Yes, I was based in Japan, but I went to everywhere wrong I needed to go. I had my bucket list, and I really tried to understand the Chinese culture, the Thai culture, the Malay culture, the Singaporean culture.
Wow.
Everything I went to and was a part of because I really enjoy that cultural diversity. But even after living in Japan and then returning back to TNT, I also had shorter passions to visit different places. So I also visited and spent some time in the Middle East, specifically Amman and Jordan. And I really loved the culture there. I loved the food. I found the people were so friendly. I think sometimes the idea of the Middle East scares you, but Jordan is a very peaceful country within the Middle East. So it was very nice to be there for about 3 months.
Wow. So I would like to know, and this is coming from someone who has the same passion that you have, right? It's almost as if I'm interviewing myself in a few years. I would love to say that. Where you would go to another country and learn about the culture. In order to do that, you must have an open mind. And just interacting with you, I know that was one of your most beautiful qualities. You're always open to different things. But not to jump the gun, can you maybe share with us something that you've learned while in maybe Jordan or these countries, especially Japan, because these young ones are obsessed with this anime. But I'm sure you didn't go there for anime. Can you tell us a little bit, something that you took away from there and brought and practiced here?
Sure.
Is there any?
Yes, definitely. I think one, I've come to realize that people are people no matter which part of the world you go to. I found that there was so much more similarities than differences.
Really?
Yeah, culturally, yes, the language barrier is there, the food barrier is there. But respect for people, having peace with people, sharing a smile, having willingness and casual conversations with people, being friendly and open to interact. Yes, a lot of the Japanese people, they wanted to speak to me because they wanted to learn English. But I also wanted to appreciate the opportunity to learn Japanese.
Right.
And because there was just that interest to exchange, we having conversations and we may not understand what everybody's saying at the point in time,
Right.
but somehow we were still able to connect. And even while being in the Middle East, sometimes you have so much negative stereotypes about different places in the world.
Correct.
But once people's heart is good and the purpose is there, I think people connect no matter what to work towards that common goal.
So it's so interesting that you went to the point where you said there were more similarities and differences. Because I will tell you, I was expecting you to tell me something that was different. I know I would get an answer from you now. I love my belly. I know you were talking before. I love food, and it tastes even better when somebody else is cooking it. Did you have an opportunity to taste something, and I want to focus on the Middle East, something there, maybe you could go Japan as well, that you found that that's something you would like to taste here, something that you would want to taste again? How did it taste compared to our beautiful food here? I love to talk about food on every episode. Everybody knows that. I talk about food on every episode. Can you get, for those who haven't been there yet?
Sure. One thing I must say is because Trinidad and Tobago is very culturally diverse, I do think when you end up international and you go to another country, you would have probably already had a taste of it from here.
Wow.
So I experienced it a lot when I was in Asia, because we had that Indian influence. Yes, the Indian food would be slightly different from the one traditional in India, but there was still certain mix and certain foods that I could have liked because I already
with the taste buds.
Yes,
Okay.
and then yes, Japanese food is really known internationally, but we still have a small Japanese community here. So I was able to mix and mingle with the Japanese community before I went to Japan. So the idea of having the sushi and all of that, yes, it's a bit authentic when you're in the country and the birthplace of where that food comes from. But I think our cultural palette in TNT has already been very diverse.
You were trained tongue.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was not that hard to find food that you could really enjoy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that is beautiful. Or are you just being too positive?
No. One, maybe two, because I like my belly, so I just eat everything they give me.
So I'll warm you up. Now we're getting down to some more serious business. Latoyaa is sitting here with me, but she has founded and managed businesses.
Yes.
Can you give us the amount of things that you do? But I know even though you have a variety of experience and you're in different spaces, at the end of the day, they all complement each other. That's what I appreciate. In everything you did, you stayed focused on the passion for languages, integrating cultures, which is clearly a good thing in a time like this. Yeah? So give us a little talk about where we could find you, where you at, what you've done, if you did it down here, if you did it, and give us a little taste.
Well, I have over the years developed certain business acumen, but one of my first passion and interest being in media, communications, and international development. So I'm an international development consultant, and what that means is not only a lot of my business and work resides in TNT, but it resides anywhere in the world. But I focus on the global south.
Okay.
So I've done projects in Asia, in Africa, in Latin America, and the projects could range from things to do with education, from youth development, social development, review studies on different kind of topics. So for me, I understand that we're living in a global space, but I see us as developing countries, and I try to implement projects and programs that could help improve people's lives, make things better, help people to understand it and grow. So because I have a passion for international relations, it's very easy for me to randomly decide that I'm going to do a project in Africa. I'm going to do something in Asia, because I understand that there's an international purpose. There's a knowledge sharing that goes across borders. And there's different lessons to be learned from one country that you could transfer to another.
Right.
And that has helped my business grow in terms of my international development space.
Yes.
So I've been doing that, I would say, for about 15 years or so.
Wow.
Working in the international development
You know, it's really
space.
maths, right? Because you know, you said young, and I said, you have to be about 18 to work. Don't worry. So I did mention before I asked you that question, telling you that I noticed that even though your portfolio is wide, it really kind of complements each other. But I want to know, how do you balance all these roles? Being a consultant, being a manager, a tourism innovator, because we're going to let you know more about that project. How do you balance it?
Wow, great question, Kyna. I think one, you have to do something that you like, that you're interested in. So if a project lands on my lap and I'm not interested in it, I don't have the passion, I don't have the drive for it, then I wouldn't say yes. So I think that's the first thing. Choosing projects and activities that you are interested in and that aligns with your goal. Don't just take it because the money look good. Yeah, money might be a motivator because you have to pay bills. But at the end of the day, what will keep you up at night? What will make you go that extra mile with that project? What will make it you give your all and be satisfied with the end result? And if it's not good, you're going to drill down and go again and try to fix it. So for me, I always engage in activities that I know I like and I could really positively contribute to.
I love that response, Latoyaa. Is it okay to call Latoyaa?
Yes, no, Latoyaa is quite fine.
You know why? And I love how you gave the rationale behind it. A lot of times we choose careers because the money, and you know what happens? We stressed out, we're using the money behind medical bills, we lose our family because we don't have time for them. But I love how you, my pause raising right now, you summarize it, choosing your projects. And I love that you have shown us that with the balance of all these responsibilities. You chose things that you enjoyed, you chose things that you can manage, right? So youths out there, if you are on your career path, and the older ones like myself, we know you'll always be forever young, choose wisely. And that is something for me too. You have no idea how much that little phrase did a lot for me, especially with what we'll be doing this year in the coming times under Aquí brand and Kyna the Caribbean. So we're going to get a lot deeper. I don't want you all to think that I'm going to expose everything about the lady because she's still on a path of so many things. But when we come back, but before we come back, and I want to let you all know of a project that we're doing here on Kyna the Caribbean in collaboration with Aqui and now in collaboration with Roots Yard Dub and Scallywag Bay Shagaramas, we are going to come together, well, we already started, to bring to you, Trinidad and Tobago, the first Latin Caribbean fair in Trinidad and Tobago. Why? Because we've seen how the migrants have worked hard to find their sweet spot, their space here, and they have a lot to offer. So for those who cannot somehow see it, we're going to bring it to you in one space. The best, we can't accommodate all because there are a lot. We're going to bring the majority of them, different, a variety, in one space where you and your family can come down to Roots Yard on the 13th, Saturday 13th of September 2025 and experience Latin America and Caribbean culture. Make a beautiful bond. So you will get more information on that as the date approaches. And tonight we continue with the interview with Mrs. Latoyaa Roberts-Thompson. So let's take a little break. I'm going to give her a breather and we'll be back shortly.
Sunday Stew presents Hamidullah Wahid in Vintage Royal. Yes, join us as we celebrate the humorous champion Hamidullah Wahid. Hami is joined by his Vintage Royal team, Brother Valentino, King Luther, Lady Adana, Ras Commander, Pharaoh, and Masha Kagan. The action is at the St. Madeleine Regional Complex, October the 4th from 7 p.m. Tickets are just $200. Get them today from all committee members. Call Eunice on 721-6327 or Patricia 783-7446. Exciting door prizes to be won. Your hosts, Damian Melville and Eunice Peters. It's Hamidullah Wahid in Vintage Royal. AOK, Acts of Kindness TT Foundation presents Royal in Purple, a benefit all-inclusive gala. Yes, you're dressing up for this one. November the 8th, San Fernando City Hall Auditorium from 5 p.m. Royal Entertainment from Lady Adana, Eddie Charles, Ziggy Rankin, Dale Toro, and Masha Kagan. Your hosts, Trina and Eunice Peters. For more information, call 783-7446. That's 783-7446 for Royal Food.
Welcome back, everyone, and tonight we're having an exclusive interview in English with Miss Latoyaa Roberts Thomas. Now, we just got to find out a little bit more about her, what she wanted to share about herself, and a little bit about the places that she's been. But what you did not know, or maybe you knew a little bit, what you need to know is about her project that is very close to a part of the world that, in my opinion, sometimes, the movies that we see is a bit scary, but she just made me understand that no, it's not like that. So, Latoyaa, tell us a little bit more about the hotel that's near to the Amazon with such a natural environment. How has that experience been? What projects are you on? Fill us in.
Thank you so much, Kyna. So this project is very new. So it's now coming to life where in about February, my husband and I, we visited Ecuador during Carnival time. And yes, we were in the main city, which is Quito, which is the capital. But we also took some time to venture closer into the interior of Ecuador by visiting a city called Banos. And Banos is 1 hour out from the Ecuadorian Amazon. So a lot of persons, when they think about the Amazon, most times they align it to Brazil only. But Brazil covers about 60% of the Amazon, but there are other countries that also share the Amazon basin. Ecuador has a smaller portion of the Amazon, but it's easier to get into the Amazon from Ecuador because it's a smaller portion. So the city of Banos is about 3 hours out from Quito, which is the main capital. And Banos is a lovely city for persons interested in health, wellness, nature, ecotourism, soft adventure. So we just went there for vacation. No big plans at all. But while there, I fell in love with the place. I fell in love with what it represented.
Beautiful.
I fell in love with the idea of health, wellness, nature, and also really sustainable tourism. And I do have a background dealing with tourism growing up from Tobago, and also just having an idea of international development, traveling to different countries and seeing different tourism products. So an opportunity was placed on our laps.
Wow.
And we took the leap.
I love how you said sustainable tourism, because coming from a place where we come from, Trinidad and Tobago, we see many opportunities to become a tourist. No more Tobago, a tourist spot, tourist attraction. However, we've gotten so advanced in so many things. I think we move away from the island love. So with the way how you explain that there, I feel like I want to be there.
Of course.
Health, wellness, natural. I love that. I always dream of those things. But you were telling us about your visit, and this is what I was always telling people. There are many times that we go to somewhere, we don't have an idea, and then it becomes a project. So you went there on a vacation.
Yes.
Fell in love with the place, gave it another purpose, and now it's going to benefit not only Ecuador, but other Caribbean and Latin countries. Can you name some for us?
Sure. So the way how the project is located in Banos, it's a really nice property, but we want to not only leave it as a charm for Banos and Ecuadorian tourism, but we want to bring persons from the Caribbean to come visit, to understand the health and wellness tourism, to understand access to the Amazon, to understand nature, to understand wellness, to understand life there. So as a result of that, the project is twofold. It's a health and wellness resort, yes, but I also want to build sustainable communities around it. So I'm hoping like every month or two to have different retreats that really cluster different communities. So at times I want to have writers retreat. I'm in the process of planning an art retreat catered for persons in the creative art space, visual art space. I want to have dance retreats. Different persons from different parts of society could come and not only nourish themselves, but as mental health, physically, but also build a community and space around that tourism product.
Beautiful. So for someone who would just want to visit the hotel, I mean not be part of the retreats,
yes,
what can they experience if they come?
So the hotel is a 20-room property located in not the downtown center of Banos, but just maybe like 10 minutes on the outskirts.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily in the high, dense, traffic, noisy area, So there's a nice...
That's a plus right there.
Yes.
Go to relax.
Of course. So there's a nice, backdrop of the mountains, and there's a river running by. At the hotel, we encourage yoga in the morning. We encourage healthy breakfasts. We encourage nature tours. We encourage persons to... There's access to jacuzzi, so after you come from the Amazon or you come from hiking, you could, relax and really rejuvenate. So we were really trying to push that holistic health and wellness. The city of Banos is not the place for luxury and glamour, but it's really for mental health, for wellness, for self-reflection, for rejuvenating, which is really important to persons.
Yeah, and it's just this morning, so ironic, just this morning I was watching a video on mental health, and they were linking anxiety and frustration to noise, right?
Right.
So people who live on main roads or in high activity environments, they tend to be more frustrated.
Of course.
And I agree. But I mean, we're small here in Trinidad and Tobago, and then in Ecuador, they have their natural seas. The timid me, going to ask you the next question.
Sure.
Because I haven't been there yet. Is it that where it's located, it's open to the natural environment, or there are some sort of restriction because the creatures, girl? What you all do with the creatures?
So we're located in Banos, which is a city. So it's the most developed city before you venture into the Amazon. So it's kind of called the gateway to the Amazon.
All right.
So it's very developed and it's very safe. Okay. So you wouldn't get an anaconda crawling into your bed in any way, not like that.
We have to blame J-Lo for that movie.
I know, right? But ideally, from the city of Banos, you can start to enter into the Amazon area within an hour drive or so. Okay. So the air is really fresh when you get up on mornings. If you suffer from asthma, if you have challenges breathing, you won't have that problem there. The air is fresh. It rains nearly every day. You really feel relaxed, you feel revived as a person being there, because it's really very clean, very, very clean, less pollution, especially because we're in the outskirts of the city. It's not that noisy, and it really gives you that peaceful, calmed area, but there's no big wild animals running there. So you're very much safe. Getting deeper into the Amazon is where you can get the experience of seeing wildlife and seeing nature, but we're still within a city on the outskirts of the Amazon.
So you mentioned that there were going to be a few retreats. Why are you starting with art? I could give you my response. I could assume why art, and I want to add to it, but I'm going to allow you to lead that. Why start with art and not dance or something else? Tell me.
I think I have a passion for art. I've been a member of the Tobago Visual Arts Association for many years. Wow. So I'm not a painter in any way or visual artist, but I'm more of a collector. I always love to see art. Every time I travel, I always like to go to a museum or a gallery or art show. So I just felt it was an opportunity to bring persons who own that craft, that creative aspect of them, to come together and focus on painting about nature and ecotourism. So as a result of that, I want to host my first art retreat. It was supposed to be this year, but we've decided to postpone it till next year to give the artists an opportunity to really settle themselves down. Because creatives, they don't have the world of money.
Correct.
And for some people, it might be difficult to make the journey in such a short period of time. So we're catering for the first quarter of 2026, where we're inviting artists from Latin America and the Caribbean to come to Ecuador, to come to Banos, to come for a weekend of just building that community, of being inspired by nature, inspired by your surroundings, and really paint wonderful pieces. And if the project has a sustainability aspect in it, in terms of all the artists who participate. Their artist pieces will now be displayed in the hotel. Wow. So the hotel becomes like that gallery where their pieces will be for sale, and then the purchase from it will be returned to the artists.
So it's an all-inclusive package for artists. And I love how so that would have been part of my assumption, you identified that a lot of us here, especially in the Caribbean, I could talk for those in Trinidad and Tobago who are very talented. They draw really well, they paint really well. And it's almost as if we have the effect of it has to go out to come back in for somebody to appreciate it. Yeah. But no, this is an opportunity for you as a young artist, maybe an older one who maybe didn't get the time to shine, come over, enjoy your stay, and also expose your talent to other people like you. That is really, that is a nice connecting, that's a connecting project. If it's in 2026, anybody want to sponsor the trip for Aquí con Kyna, feel free. Right, feel free. I come with an offspring, so if you have to cover, you have to cover for two. Keeping it real here. Yes, my darling. So another thing we would like to know, so if it is you're going to do it, let's say in the first quarter of next year, do you plan to have this running annually?
Yes, definitely.
Also one retreat per year?
The artist retreat.
Also different
so it's
types
a different,
within,
yes,
okay,
different
so that's what I
classes
wanted to know.
cater to different types of persons within different communities. So there's going to be like a health and wellness retreat that caters to persons in that field. I also want to do a writer's retreat because I'm also an author. I think you have some questions about that, so we get into that.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to cater to those writers or want to be writers, persons who want to be motivated to write a book.
Beautiful.
So we're going to have a writer's retreat, dance retreat. So I'm looking at different segments of the society and building out programs that fit their niche while still focusing on health and well-being of people and building communities.
So I'm hearing the passion behind the creativity, and a question just punched me. When we're having this retreat, catering for Caribbean and Latin American, how the program is going to be bilingual?
Of course, I have to bring you over to translate for me.
No, we were supposed to do this interview in Spanish, but you really want to say, I don't want to.
Español.
But I know we will be able to do another interview because I would love to bring you back to get a follow-up of the success of the retreat.
Yes, definitely.
Because I know once we create a pattern, we want you to come together, you have a talent, come and show it. People love an opportunity to show what they have, you know? Wow, so that's going to be very interesting. But I didn't know that not just the visual art part of you managing that. I didn't know that you wanted to include the Caribbean ones at the time when we spoke. I thought it was just Ecuador.
No.
But I know you see your branch.
I want to connect.
Nice. So I'm just going to be devil's advocate here. Are you going to extend it to the world, or are you keeping it Caribbean and Latin?
But now I want to focus on Latin America and the Caribbean because I believe, again, when I travel to different regions all over the world, I see so much similarities. And I think, yes, I understand and I respect our Caribbean heritage,
okay,
but we also have a lot of similarities with the Latin Americans. And I think it will be a nice diversity mix to really bridge that gap sometimes between Latin America and the Caribbean. Because globally, we are looked at as one region. So it will be a nice merger to see how the similarities and the differences blend.
And it's always good to encourage commerce within the community that is close by.
Yes, exactly.
We're looking forward to that. So once again, people, you know, we like to give a little break. So you could go and get a little water. You could call your friend again and say, hey, Aquí con Kyna is on. And she's in English tonight, interviewing Mrs. Latoyaa Roberts-Thomas on the many things that she does. And we're coming back because she made papers the other day for all of us mackerel. She's going to tell us more about that. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
AOK, Acts of Kindness TT Foundation presents Royal in Purple, a benefit all-inclusive gala. Yes, you're dressing up for this one. November the 8th, San Fernando City Hall Auditorium from 5 p.m. Royal entertainment from Lady Adana, Eddie Charles, Ziggy Rankin, Dale Toro, and Marsha Kagan. Your hosts, Trina and Eunice Peters. For more information, call 783-7446. That's 783-7446 for Royal Food. Sunday Stew presents Hamidullah Wahid in Vintage Royal. Yes, join us as we celebrate the humorous champion Hamidullah Wahid. Hami is joined by his Vintage Royal team, Brother Valentino, King Luther, Lady Adana, Ras Commander, Pharaoh, and Marsha Kagan. The action is at the St. Madeleine Regional Complex, October the 4th from 7 p.m. Tickets are just $200. Get them today from all committee members. Call Eunice on 721-6327 or Patricia 783-7446. Exciting door prizes to be won. Your hosts, Damian Melville and Eunice Peters. It's Hamidullah Wahid in Vintage Royal.
Welcome back again, my people, mi gente. Tonight we have Mrs. Latoyaa Robert Thomas, and I will have to say her name all the time because we're not too sure if you brought your new friend with any break. We are also live on Facebook, so you can leave your comments there. You can also call us 225-9790. Is it? I will confirm that. Yes. Call, and if you have any questions for her, because in the rate of things happening, you will want to know more. So, Latoyaa, when we agreed to have the interview, not too long after, I saw your face on the newspaper.
Yes.
I said, my God, I'm going to bring another celebrity on my show. So could you tell our audience a little bit about what that article was about and, you know, why you were featured?
Sure, to the audience. So you remember Kyna said I have many businesses. So one of my businesses is actually Books by LR. And it's a small boutique publishing agency. So I work with authors within the Caribbean to publish their books. And while I publish persons' books, I also create books myself. So I published my third book this month, and it's called The Tide Reclaims. So that is why I was in the papers. I had my recent book launch for that book.
And for those who will want to get the book, I know it's online as well. You can purchase it online.
Sure.
And they just give us a little background of the story.
Oh, well, this book was a project that I started about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
And I wanted to write a romance novel. My first two books, one was a poetry book, and the second one was more about self-help for persons who want to write. And for this third book, I said, I want to dabble in a bit of romance. So I wanted to write a romance book, but I didn't want a traditional story, boy meets girl, boy like girl, in the end. They happily ever after. So I looked around my environment, I looked around my surroundings, and I realized, you know, the environment, climate change is a topical issue, but it's a very dense issue sometimes, and it's very technical sometimes.
Correct.
So I wanted to find a very simple but nice way to bring out the challenges that we have living in a small island state when it becomes understanding climate change and how it affects different persons in society. So this book is about a couple, Megan, who is a marine biologist, and she returns to the island of St. Giles. Again, hinting to my background from Tobago, but didn't want to put the title as Tobago. And she was working a lot with environmental problems and projects there, and she wanted to host this conference. And then James, his family, originally from Tobago, but migrated a very long time ago, and they own a very large company abroad, sends him to this conference just for tokenism, greenwashing, just go to the conference, see what they have to say, but no really great care. Okay. So the stereotype is that these two sides of the spectrum, business tycoon, greenwashing, not really caring about how the environment is impacted by his business, her being a marine biologist, caring about the environment, caring about the small island that she grew up, wanting to make a change. And then they realized that ideally in the end they both want the island to survive, they both want the island to change, but they were on different sides of the spectrum. So they had a lot of tit for tat and back and all going on between them, but that also brewed love.
Okay.
And then they realized in the end that they were fighting for the same thing. So eventually he converted and now became a CEO of a small company that is focused on sustainable development, focused on the environment, focused on care and love. And he reports back to his father in America, who didn't too much care, felt as if he was giving away the company profits, felt as if he wasn't doing what they wanted him to do in the first place. But in the end, that even though they had small demonstrative projects, and sometimes they succeeded, sometimes they failed, sometimes the fishermen making noise, sometimes the people in the community feel as if what you're doing concerning climate change is not making sense, they still had resilience and hope. And little by little, the projects continue to grow and continue to scale, and then it replicated to other Caribbean islands. So that is why the idea of the tide reclaims is that no matter what, the environment, the earth, the planet will always win. Yeah.
So just if someone, I know a lot of us out here guilty of doing that, just reading a title, just reading the headline and assuming certain things. And you know how the media have that clickbait ready for us, right? When you hear the name The Tide Reclaims, I couldn't help but think about exactly what you summed it up there as.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, as much as we try to fix and shove and backfill, nature will take back its place. Yes. But I love how you were able to integrate that and make it a love story. I love love stories.
Oh, me too.
I love love. So that is really, really nice. So you're you're not only a business lady, she's also an author.
Yes.
And she has a book out, her third book, because I would say the second one was like a manual helping people. Third book out, and you can get it on Amazon, is it?
So it's on Amazon, and it also is in local bookstores here in Trinidad and Tobago.
So you could get it in hand and online.
Definitely. And
Can't say you didn't get it. I couldn't do it. No, you can't get it. Can you list any of the booksellers that are offering you?
Sure. So it's at Scribbles and Quills in Shogunas.
Nice.
It's also at the Market Movers. They're online, and they also have a store in El Securo. And in Tobago, it's at Books and Office Supplies, and also Heritage Haven Books and Things. Wow. And it's also at Eastside Plaza in Port of Spain at booth number 35.
Wow, you'll remember that? Call it over for us one more time.
So in Trinidad, you can get it at Scribbles and Quills. They're located in Shogunas. You can also get it at Eastside Plaza in Port of Spain. And you can get it at the Market Movers. They have an online store and also a physical presence in El Securo. And in Tobago, for my Tobago peeps, you can get it at Books and Office Supplies. Sorry, that's in TLH Mall, Scarborough, Tobago. And then Heritage Haven Books and Things, that's on the Scarborough Esplanade.
Just getting a summary of the book from you, Latoyaa, I would think that it can find its place in schools as a literature.
Yes, I think so too. I think it's a book about hope and the environment.
Yes. So this is my next question. Sometimes we write things. I love to write too. I've written a book. I haven't published it yet. We're working on that.
We're going to sort that out.
Yes. We tend to write from a certain perspective, and then we have people who read and will give us different versions of the book. But besides those moments where people take different versions of the book, what is one that you would want to make sure that we get when we read it?
I think my book, at the end of the day, is a book about hope.
Okay.
It's a book about understanding we live in small islands and climate change is real. But let's not throw our hands up in the air. Okay. Small projects do go a long way. Because in the book there were the naysayers, it had the people who didn't believe, it had the people who were criticizing, it had the optimistic, it had the ones who just waiting for a chance. Like in part of the storyline there's a piper and he wants to know what could he do.
Oh wow. Nice.
So the book really speaks to people in different levels of society. And all the different things that I describe in the book is things that I saw from in my community. Whether the sea was eroding and you didn't realize it was climate change, or you used to see a flower and a bee and now you ain't seen it anymore, you didn't realize it's climate change. So all these little life lessons is useful to still understand that you have a place in society and you can assist in making the place better.
And it's so correct, because the other day I was on social media where they were reminding us, you can clean around your home and that will help in some way.
Of course.
You throw your trash away, that will help in some way. I'm listening to the story and I'm even seeing it as a movie, because for those who may not want to sit down behind a book, we have a lot of people who, flash, make it into a really nice movie and have it right here in the Caribbean, a little piece in Ecuador.
Possibly. You never know.
I'm not an actress though, so I wouldn't
And I'd just like to add that,
yeah.
I launched the book in TNT this month, but at the end of the month, this week, I'm actually going to Barbados, because I will be at Carifesta also launching the book there.
Yes. Push me to that one, because I was not going to talk about the next moves in the Caribbean, right? But can you tell us when I will be, so for those who may be watching it from Barbados right now?
So definitely I will be at the UA Symposia. That will be at UA Cave Hill campus on the 25th and 26th of August, so do come check us out.
That's right there, people. That's right there. That's like, by the time you think of tomorrow, it's there.
Yes.
Nice. So basically, what we grasped so far about you, Latoyaa, and this is what I love about these interviews, I learn so much on set. That's why even if we talk before to get a little more familiar with each other, there's so much more to learn about the interviewee. And you have shown us in just under an hour how passion, creativity, hope, and love find a place in one human in such a short space of time. Because I was looking at the biography too. These are things that you never had a break. You were just going and stepping into these bigger things. And it's inspiring. Like I said, I would love to think that in a few years, I could be in your seat and someone interviewing me. Because we have a lot of similarities here, the passion behind the languages, and that's why we needed you on an episode in this show. And I didn't want to have anything delayed when you're telling your story, so we give it to you in your comfortable zone in English, because that's what we do here. We integrate, we build a community, and that's what Aquí con Kyna is for. We build community, and we help share the stories that matter. Right? Going back to the book, and I want to get your personal opinion on this, not just the book, but your personal opinion. I love how you brought the contrast of those who looking to make a dollar, become profitable and all these things. And you said, as small islands, we think we have to put our hands up.
Yes.
Can you give us any of in your head, any suggestions that we could do, those of us watching right now, on a daily basis or in a short space of time, what we could do to help with this climate change?
Thanks so much for that question, Kyna. I think very simple things we can do. I know we in Trinity, everybody like their one car, they don't want a carpool, but something simple as just talking to your neighbor, talking to the people around you, carpooling. Sometimes, the garbage truck didn't come, or it's not government policy yet that we are recycling enough, but you could recycle your waste. You could separate your organics from your other trash. You could try to reduce the amount of waste that you're using in your household. You could teach your children, take the AC off. Sometimes just open the window and try to get some fresh air. We live in the Caribbean. We're still not as heavily polluted as many other islands in the world. So we don't have to have the AC running all day. There are so many little things that we can do to preserve our space here, because we still have it.
Yes, nice. I love how you mentioned the AC, and as we were talking before the interview, I would have mentioned that I was staying in Mexico doing schoolwork, obviously, and that was a standard. If you're not in the room, the light shouldn't be on, the AC shouldn't be on. But we look at it most times. I'm guilty of it sometimes. I just go into the kitchen.
Yeah.
I just doing this, and then some people tell you if you keep on taking it off and on, it's more electricity you pull in each time it naps in. The suggestion of sorting our waste, it is something a little bit challenging sometimes, especially if you live in a small space. But I know of people who actually do. My mother is one, and she's very strict. So she has under her kitchen sink 2 bins. The one on the left is bigger. That's for the regular trash. And then she has one where she collects like the banana skins and stuff, and she has a big compost bin outside. She loves those things, and I really do hope that we here in the Caribbean would take these little steps. They tell us little
Most of us still have a lot of backyard space. We could compost.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that. I tell you, Latoyaa, I personally long for Trinidad where we can be, I don't want to say simple, but in an environment that we enjoy, where we don't have to rush, where we use our own resources. We give your neighbor, I grew up like that. Your neighbor giving you mangoes, you don't have to go and buy a heap of mango for $20, anything small as one and force, right? Where we want that community. And you building that in Ecuador.
Yes.
And we will continue to work on it here in Trinidad and Tobago. We need that. That's what I experienced when I go to Tobago.
Okay.
I was telling her the other day when we had to do the interview last week, and she said, I'm stranded in Tobago. And I said, that's a nice place to be stranded in. You could just kick yourself, go in a beautiful beach. You could and they're very, very accommodating in Tobago. And say, you're lucky too many people want to go to Tobago and Carish Tobago.
Yeah,
But I love that we're working on that. You are on that wavelength. I would love to continue to follow you on your journey, getting this art retreat off the ground, getting this dance retreat off the ground, and seeing the highlights and possibly sharing it with our audience, which is very soon, because 2026 is going to start just now. Is there anything that you would like to see? And I want to angle this question, because most of the interviewees I've had on my show are women. They're also young women, and we come from a society where it's okay for women to be working but we also have other responsibilities.
Oh, family is important.
Correct. Family and even your husband, because we were trained like that to take care of our spouses. How do you balance that? How have you accomplished so much and still keep a very positive outlook on things? What advice you have for us young women out here?
Wow.
If we decide to go on a path similar to yours, how can we stay on track?
That's a big question. Wow.
I know you'll answer from the heart, so I'm prepared to hear the response.
Definitely. Kyna, I think when you're choosing a partner, choose a partner who understands that you have goals and you have dreams, and lay it on the table early and find out if they would like to work with you towards them. I think that's really important, that find someone who understands that these are the things I like, these are the things that I do not like, these are the things that we could work together on, and there are some things that I may have to do on my own because that might not be the person's passion or strength.
Okay.
And that is quite fine. But I also think family support is really important, and in everything I do, I have family support. I think that keeps me grounded, that keeps me seen. No matter what, family is always there, and you need that. You need family.
And even if you don't have your blood family, as in my case, I've had many challenges.
Find your people.
I have my tribe.
Yeah, find
people
your tribe.
Who feel like family, and I still have my family backing me up. Right now, mommy's watching. Mommy, good night, and my son, good night, baby boy. And I think, so you would sum it up as making sure and choosing the right partner.
Yes.
And having and allowing the family to support you.
That's important.
Because sometimes the family support you and you don't want them in your business. Do you have that kind of feeling?
Yeah, we do. There's a role for everybody. That's what I will say. There's a role for everybody. There's a role. So you need to know where your strengths are. And you need to know who will help you do certain things. So they are the persons who will be the cheerleaders.
Correct.
They are the ones who will share your social media flyers, but they may not buy from you. But they will still give you that good positive word that could carry you along.
Very nice.
So you need to know your different people in your tribe.
Correct.
Playing different roles, and you know who you could go to for what activities in your life.
And I like that you for those who didn't know, and I hope she don't get back to me sharing her business. Her husband is here. He came and he supported, and I love how you also said there will be times when they will not be strong enough for that little journey, but they will cheer you on in the background. I like that. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. And we have a few more minutes, but I just want to take some time now, Latoyaa, for you to connect with our audience. Tell us about the projects that you've already completed.
Too many to list.
Well, the ones that you enjoyed the most. How about that?
Wow.
Plenty. Everything you enjoyed?
Because if I don't like it, I'm not doing it.
Correct. Well, give us one where you had to use another language, or you had to deal with people who do not speak your mother language.
I think a lot of my projects all the time do that.
For an experience.
Yeah. I think that I went to South Africa once to complete a project there, and it was really good dealing with the local tribes there. So I went to Soweto. Soweto is a city where Nelson Mandela was from and all of that. And it's really cultural because you understand apartheid, you understand the struggle, and I assume I could relate as an African descent, but sometimes you just can't until you're in that space and in that zone. And that was a very humbling experience to me. So I really appreciated that. I think another country that really stood out to me that I really loved a lot, and we probably take for granted, is I also went to Cambodia, a very small country in Asia, and they're probably one of the cheapest countries in Asia. Really cheap. And I felt as if it was so hard knowing that some people live on salaries of like $20-30 US a month. So people in Trinidad and Tobago, yes, I know nothing is perfect and we all want more, but I do think we need to be grateful for what we have had so far in this country, and let us just continue to strive for better while encouraging everybody around us so that we can grow together.
Right. I'd also like to take some time to say hello to Chris Garcia, one of our very own. He is giving us his salutations via our Facebook chat. Hi, Chris. Last time I saw Chris was on the road for Carnival. But, you know, I love how this interview went. I honestly think this interview went way better than I expected. I spoke to you before and I said, this is a really, really nice lady. The conversation before the interview, and it's genuine. You could see that you did not pretend to be anybody on the phone. This is you, and Latoyaa, I could understand why you are taking those opportunities and you are getting the opportunities to bridge cultures.
Yes.
Because the passion is there, the patience is there, you're well spoken, you're into storytelling. This is just marvelous. And you come from right Tobago. And
you were a wonderful interviewer.
Oh my gosh.
So I think we vibes well.
I tell you, I said to myself, and I saw him the other day, Wendell Constantine, he was one of the major people in my journey. He asked me one question, he said, Kyna, what do you want to do? And I said to him, I said, you might laugh when I tell you this, I want to get paid to talk. And exactly what I am doing. I mean, it doesn't always pay with plenty money and things, because you know you're still building your brand and all of that. But the payment for me that is priceless, meeting people like yourself, getting to know their stories firsthand, being able to share those things with the people of the world. You know, it is something that you cannot really put a price on. So when I know each Monday I come here and I get to talk to nobody's a stranger. You get to know them, and I go to sleep, and I sleep well.
That's good.
My Tuesday mornings are the best times. There's an anxiety every Monday though, because I know when you came, I said, okay, I want to make sure. I wouldn't lie, I was a bit intimidated. I was like, okay, let me make sure and ask you right questions. But at the end of the day, I want for the interview to highlight an amazing woman, her journey thus far, and what she's going to do. You ain't stopping. You ain't stopping. But I'm actually contemplating it, with or without sponsors, going to Ecuador, because I've never been there. I have been to the Latin American countries, and like you say, there are many similarities. I don't agree with you with the food.
Because street
I
food is the
don't
best.
agree with the food, because I never forget, I went to Mexico and I tried some street food. And I didn't ask properly what it was until I take the first bite and I saw a leg. And I asked the guy, I said, what am I eating? He's like, oh, those are crickets.
Okay, well, you picked the wrong option. No, but there are a lot of similarities in the food, because we as Latin Americans share a lot of things. Like, I remember when I went to Ecuador, like, I saw, like, sugar cake. I was like, oh, they are sugar cake. Well, yeah, duh, because they have a whole sugar industry. So
it is good?
Yeah, yeah.
As good as Tobago one? All
I'm
right.
not Tobago, but, you know.
No, because we talk about that too. I told you, I say, when I go, anybody go to Tobago, I will say, and bring back some tulum bum for me. Tulum. I love tulum. I love the sugar cake. Everything on that stretch. Bring me one of every single one. And it tastes good. And it's always nice that to take away from this entire interview, you highlighted and you kept stressing on the fact that we are multicultural society. So even if you don't even have the opportunity of leaving these shores to go on a plane like she did many places, we can experience this beauty right here. So, and you, as much as you're going back and forth, you're coming back.
Of course, because home is where I'm grounded. It keeps me rooted.
Nice. All right, people. Excuse me. This brings us to the end of our episode for tonight. May I have a sip of water? Yeah. And Latoyaa, thank you so much for coming on Aquí con Kyna. We will stay in touch. Everybody, have a great night. We love you. Ciao, pues.